is working correctly, because as you can imagine, if it's not, it would be a big deal. So just give me a second. And of course, I thank you for your patience as always. All right, let me say hello to some people that we have in here in the meantime. All right, looks like it's going to start. We got Steven. Hello, what is my favorite keyboard? The one I have, it's called a Roland RD700. Filthy Will says, hope everybody's having a good weekend. I am Filthy Will. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Mahesh is back once again. Welcome, Mahesh. Glad that you're here. And I believe you had a question about something we're covering today. I think that was you anyway. And hold on. Okay, it looks like we're good here. All right, so if there's any problems with the audio or video, please let me know in the chat and be obnoxious about it. But it looks like, we are good to go. Hello, Alex. Let me say hello to Karen again. We got Clyde here. Welcome, Clyde. Glad to have you with us. We got B. Stoker, Bram Stoker, perhaps. Are you Dracula? I'm glad to have you with us. And then Laredo, of course. Okay, we're going to get started here. We're not going to waste much time anyway. Oh, yeah, let me start the Facebook stream, and then we'll get on to it. It should take less than a minute, so just give me a sec here. Hello students, it's your piano teacher Tim here once again. Welcome to our classroom piano lessons on the web. If it's your first time out here, make sure you like our page if you're on Facebook. Make sure you are subscribed and have all notifications turned on if you are watching on YouTube, because we have new lessons coming out all the time and you don't want to miss a beat. All right, let's get on into the lesson. So let me just bring up my notes here. Oh, it's doing that thing again. No problem. Be gone. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Let me try again. There are some common rhythm patterns that for some reason students almost always get wrong, and you might be one of those, so pay attention. Your piano teacher Tim, though, has you covered, because today I'm going to be showing you these patterns and how to count them correctly. Let's get on to the lesson. All right, guys. The first thing you need to know about are simple note durations. These are quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, dotted quarter notes, maybe eighth notes, 16th notes, things like that. If you're not familiar with all that already and how time signatures work and the whole thing, make sure you check out the link in the description, because that will help you catch you up. All right, on with the meat of the lesson. All right. All right, let me get my first rhythm in here. The first rhythm that students commonly get wrong is the dotted quarter, and usually followed by an eighth rhythm. So we're really talking about from here to here. So let me show you how to do it. So hopefully you checked out that lesson I mentioned, or you know how to count already. So the thing is obviously we're in 4/4 time signature, meaning we have 4 beats in a measure. So the total has to add up to 4. So the thing is obviously beat 1 is going to hit there. So obviously beat 1's going to hit here. So we need to figure out how long are we going to be holding the dotted quarter for. Well, a dotted quarter note, as you might know, gets 1.5 beats. And if you remember from when we were subdividing, let me write it over here so we can have our quarter notes, right? Thank you for your patience, everybody. There we go. Okay, so if you remember with eighth notes, we had to subdivide each beat. We still had our 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, but to account for all these, missing areas, we had to come up with like kind of a placeholder. So we used the term and. It looks like a plus sign. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we count them twice as fast, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The reason this is relevant is that each of these now represents half a beat. So there's half a beat on the number. There's another half a beat. There's another half a beat, half a beat. So just get in your mind that each of those, the 1 and the and, 2 and the and, are each worth half of a beat on their own. Now the thing is that I said the dotted quarter note is worth 1.5 beats. So the question I want to ask you is, how many halves in 1.5? Well, think about it. You have a half. So you have a half then. Plus another half, which is whole, so you have 1 then, plus another half. So you have 3 halves in 1.5. So therefore your dotted quarter note, which will look like this, as you remember, is going to take up 1 and 2. So here we go. We're going to go back to our rhythm, and this is going to take up 1 and 2, just like that. I'm going to draw a line underneath to indicate how long that's going to be held for. The next eighth note is going to be held on and, or pressed on and. And then, of course, you have 3, 4. However, I do recommend you still count out the ands. This is called subdivision. And the reason you do that, even though you're playing quarter notes, is to maintain a consistent tempo throughout. Let me show you how to play this now. So you go to your keyboard, obviously, and I'm going to count it real slow. I'm just going to be counting out the 1 and 2 and until I get to 4, or the and of 4. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Obviously hitting each of those beats or each of those notes where they appear on each of the numbers that I've outlined. So when you're first doing these, you actually do want to go through your music and chart out like exactly how I did, using the subdivisions, drawing the lines to indicate how long to hold them for. So this one is super common. Students get this wrong for some reason all the time. It actually took me quite a long time to get the hang of it. So let's just do it together a couple times. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then beyond just counting it out, what I would do is I would actually start to kind of feel the rhythm in your body and start to kind of know like just the sound of it. Bum, 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 2 and 3, 4. Just like that. All right. Yeah. All right. So I think you guys get the idea. Let me bring up the next thing, which is 16th patterns. Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me draw something here for you guys first, and then I'll draw our next rhythm pattern. Perfect. It's amazing when things actually work. Here we go. Oops. I spoke too soon. All right, and then I want to go over these type of patterns. Like I want to do eighth. Okay, now we're going to be talking about several patterns that have to do with eighth notes connected to 16th notes. If you don't know already, when notes are beamed across like this, that tells you that together they're equal to 1 beat. Okay, to explain how to count these, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do kind of like what we did before with the eighth notes when I was showing you how you're splitting them up into 1 and 2 ands, things like that. So what I'm going to do is we now need to figure out, well, first I'm going to show you that we still have all 4 beats. So each of these groupings of 4 are called the 16th notes. Oh, 3 comes after 2. How about that? And then, so we have our 4 beats. We still also have our ands like before. We're just putting them in the middle there. So therefore, we need some placeholders for these guys. So let's do that. Let me show you how that works. So we do that using the term. So you have beat 1, and then you have E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so therefore we are subdividing even further. We still have our 1 and 2 and we have just broken them up now to be even faster. So back to the quarter notes, it would just be counted simply as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then eighth notes you play them twice as fast. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 16th notes are 4 times as fast or twice as fast as the eighth notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Takes a while to get used to, but keep in mind that like this helps you figure out some of these patterns, just like how we did with the eighth notes to the dotted quarter note that we had before. So let me show you how this works. So obviously we're gonna have beat 1 here, right? Now the question is, all right, how long am I gonna hold that eighth note for? Well, we need to split up the beat, because whenever you're dealing with 16th notes in any fashion, you have to be subdividing into the 1 E and a 2 E and a type of formula. If you only have eighth notes in the piece, you can just kind of resort to the 1 and 2 and. That's perfectly fine. Okay, so you have 1, and the eighth note now, I'm going to write up here. So this is what this is going to look like. So if I had my eighth notes in place, they would take place on 1 and. So really this eighth note here takes up 1 E, and this one is the one that takes up and a. So obviously when we move this over here, we have a single eighth note, so this is going to be taking up 1 E. This means and occurs here, and then since that's only a 16th note, our next syllable is going to be a. So we're going to be counting this as 1 E and a, just like that. All right, let me show you another pattern. All right, let's do the opposite. Oops. Okay, so we had the eighth followed by 2 16ths, which we just did. Now we have 2 16ths followed by an eighth. So we have 16th notes, so we're splitting this up into 1 E, right? And then this time the eighth note's on the end, so this is going to get 2 of them, right? Since you need 2 of these now, 2 quarters really to equal half of a beat. So that's the opposite now. It's going to be counted as 1 E and a. The first one, I'm going to count them both back to back, is 1 E and a, and then the next one is 1 E and a, just like that. And we'll do a little practice kind of combining them all into the same measure as we go along. All right, let me show you one more combination of 8th, 16th pattern. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check the real quick. All right, it looks like everything's going well. All right, good. Perfect. I want to make sure nobody's like, oh, things aren't working. All right, here we go. This one's a weird one. Okay, we have a new pattern. We got a 16th here. You can always tell by the double flag, 16th here. So therefore, we have to be using our 1E andas, right? So whenever you have a 16th note, like this first note, it's just going to take up one of the syllables. So 1, and then the next syllable has to be on that next note. You know, it can't take up any more space than that. Now, this is an 8th note. You can tell because the beam connecting across only has a single flag up top, not 2 of them, like the others. So this is going to take up E and then you have right here. So this one's going to be counted as 1 E and 1 E and And just like the dotted quarter or eighth rhythm I told you before, you want to get the feeling of all these. So even without, you want to count them first, but then after a while you want to just get the feeling of it. Bum, bum, bum. 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and then bum bum bum, just like that. And then same thing with these. I kind of forgot to mention this one is bum bum bum, or 1 E and just like that. And this one is 1 E and All right, now let's see how good you are. We're going to kind of combine a lot of these 8th, 16th patterns together, see if you really get it, and then we'll move on to something else. All right, let me show you. Okay. Here we go, everybody. We're going to be mixing it all up. Wow, it really wants to cooperate, doesn't it? Here we go. And then I'll take the easy way out by doing this. All right. Okay, now we have a whole measure of this nonsense. Just kidding, it's not nonsense. Okay, so we got our first grouping here. And by the way, they're all beamed together. So what does this beaming mean if they're all beamed together? That means that this equals 1 beat. You know, the next one's 2, 3, 4. So we know that we have our 4 beats there because when they beam them together, that's 1 beat. So you have beat 1 here, obviously in that first grouping. So let's just write out, yeah, where the 4 beats, sorry, will occur. So here we go. We have a 16th note right here. So this can only take up 1 out of the 4 syllables of the 1 E andis. So this has to take up E, this next one. That's an 8th note right there. E and And then draw the lines if you need to make sure you know where they're hitting. And then on the second one, you have 2, but this is an 8th note. So this is going to be taking up 2 E. And then you have and. This one is 3 E, because they're 16th notes. This 8th note is going to be and. And then the last one is the same as the first one. So you got 4 E and let me just draw the little lines here. They do help me at least. And then this might be confusing at first, but it does get easier and easier. One way you can check to see whether you are correct or not is if you have all 4 syllables of each beat written out. Because if you're missing any, or you wind up at the end and you don't have enough notes left, then you know you goofed somewhere. So then you got to kind of go back and check. It is going to happen to you, especially at first. It took me quite a while to get used to this, but make sure you keep practicing it because you will see these patterns quite a lot. All right, let me count these out now. So when you're actually playing them, you want to play them nice and slow. So here we go. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and So I'm pretty good at it. It might take you a couple times to count through. All right, let me show you another fundamental rhythm pattern that students often get wrong. Okay, yeah, there's actually one more. Oh, okay, let me do this one. All right, let me get these up here. Okay, we're doing a simple one. Now this is an 8th rest. It's the same as the 8th note, except you don't play. Makes sense? So, do we have any 16th notes in this measure? No, we do not. I don't see any double flags or anything that would look like that. So we only need to really count out the 1 and 2 ands. So what I would do is here we have an 8th rest. So it's going to take up 1. This is the other half of 1. And then 2, 3, 4. However, I would still be counting these, the ands in between. That will just make sure that you're playing them as consistently as possible. So this I would just call the 8th rest, 8th note pattern. So here we go. This is how you're going to count this nice and slow. So you're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just to give you some feel for how that's going to go. All right, on to the next one. Okay. Oh yeah, and this is the I should have probably just mentioned these a little bit out of order, but it's not that big of a deal. Whoa, it's not that rhythm. That's going to be something else. Okay. Let me do this. Doesn't like that dot, huh? What the heck? Nope. All right, I'm going to do this. Almost. Almost. What in the world? Will it work on that side? No. It's so close. Come on, bruh. Well, let me try this. And then it draws the dot this time, but not the flag that I wanted. There we go, finally. Finally. All right, and then we draw like some quarter notes here. Okay, the next rhythm I'm going to teach you is the dotted 8th 16th rhythm. So here we have a dotted 8th note. And the first question I actually want to ask you is, are there any 16th notes in this measure? The answer is yes. You can identify that one right there. And that tells you you're going to be subdividing into the 1E and a 2E and a kind of format. So the real question is, which is kind of confusing, is how many beats in that dotted 8th note? Well, if you remember, the dot, I mentioned this actually in the other lesson I did that I told you to watch, and that the dot adds half of the note's value to itself. So here we have an 8th note, and that's worth half of a beat. And here, with the dot, we're adding half of a half, which is a quarter, which, as you remember from math, that you're going to have to convert this one to 2 over 4. So 2 over 4 plus 1 over 4. So therefore, the dotted 8th is going to get 3/4 of a beat. Get all this stuff out of the way. So when we go back to our 16th notes, where are they? They're way back here. There we go. And I'm going to get rid of this now. So now when you're doing the 1E and us, each of those now represents 1/4 of a beat. So we need 3/4 of a beat. So therefore, our dotted 8th, hold on. So therefore, our dotted 8th is going to take up 1E and, since each of those represents 1/4 of a beat. So let's shift it over and apply that to what we're doing here. And here we have beat 1, obviously. And remember, I said it's going to take up 1E and. This is going to be on a. So that checks out, right? Because that makes one complete beat, and those are beamed together. And then you want to count out the rest of the beats. So I just like to write the numbers first. But you still want to be counting the eandas, as I like to call them. Just like that. So here we go. I'm going to play this one real carefully. Oops, I meant to actually do this. All right, here we go, nice and slow. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. Once again, 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. All right. those were actually all the rhythm patterns I wanted to go over today. Obviously, we're cutting this little part out because I want to check how everybody's doing. I'm doing well, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon, I should say. If you're liking this lesson, make sure you smash that like button. It really helps me out. All right, there's still more to go over in terms of other things, but all right, so what I'm going to do, if you're new here, you don't know how this works, is I'm going to do like a little outro. Don't worry, we're not ending the live stream yet. We still have a while to go. This is really for when I piece the lesson together. It just has a nice ending point and it makes sense. So we're not going anywhere. Just keep that in mind. Not yet. All right. Let me see here. You need some more practice on your rhythm, of course, so you want to check out this lesson right here. And it's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thanks for coming by today, and I'll see you, yes, you, in the next lesson. Man, these lights are hot. Like, it's so funny how it can be cold outside, kind of. And these lights, I wonder how hot they'd be if they were like the old incandescent ones. They'd have to be even way hotter. Way hotter. All right, let's get everybody in here. See if I have any questions relative to what we're talking about. Trying to stick to the rhythm, challenging when learning a piece. Okay, makes sense, but definitely going slow seems to make a difference. Yes, you get it. Good. But I also find it hard to slow down, okay, especially when it's coming together. It can be exciting that you're getting it. I understand. Yeah, you just need to exercise some patience, some self-control. But you seem to get the idea. You know, go nice and slow. We got Julio back here again. Welcome back, Julio. So glad to have you back with us once again. We got Steve. Good morning. We got Muffy. I believe you're new here. Glad to have you. I'm doing well, everybody. Haha. Shh. I like your name. We got James. Hello, James. Welcome to our classroom. We got Irina. Hello. We've got, Super Saiyan Goku? I'm just going to call you Goku because I can't pronounce your name. And I'm not even going to try. Steven, glad to have you with us. Favorite song to play? That's kind of a loaded question. I'm not sure. I don't know, Moonlight Sonata or something. I don't know. Something that's like that sounds cool but isn't super impossible to play. I find stuff that's really hard to play isn't as fun because I'm not like a piano performer and I don't have tons of time to practice, so it takes so much longer for that stuff for me to sound the way it's supposed to. I admit I'm more of a teacher type, more of a technology guy type, instead of like a world-class pianist. But hey, you know, when you're a musician and you got a career, you got to kind of go with an avenue and go with that. But I'm certainly an adequate player, I would say. Yes, discipline. Don't give up. I agree. Laredo says, oh, I am beginning to get very confused again. Uh-oh, this is getting complicated. I guess that since I don't C sharp, I'm going to be flat. As far as rhythm patterns are concerned, I won't give up, though. Yeah, Laredo, make sure I'm going to be coming out with the edited version of the lesson we did Friday, I believe, which was like rhythm from the beginning. You want to watch that one a few times. I even mention it in this video when this video, the edited version, comes out. I refer to that video as well. So just go through, really get the basics down first. This like 1-eanda, 2-eanda stuff, if it confuses you, don't worry about it. Really stick to like, you know, obviously you want to stick to the quarter notes, half notes, and then like maybe just start getting into like the eighth note part, the 1 and 2 and like that. So the way I can actually, you know what, I'm going to explain it right now. I don't know if this is going to help, but so say you have a measure of 4/4 and you're clapping quarter notes on each beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, an eighth note is twice as fast as a quarter note. So you still have your 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, which I'm going to clap, but now I'm going to say like the actual eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We saw there are 1, 2, 3, 4, except now it's doubled. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Same speed. Now, if you're confused by the 16th notes, just maybe stick to that. Because if you get that idea you get it in your mind, you can understand the 16th note thing. But here I'm still going to have our 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. But now I'm splitting them into 4 parts, which I need for the 16th note. So it's going to go 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. The 1, 2, 3, 4s are the same speed as before. I'm just fitting in more beats into that little segment. Hi, how slow? Any BPM recommendation when using a metronome? Great lesson. Start out, thank you, Marcel. Start out really slow, like maybe quarter note equals 40, quarter note equals 60. It might be painfully slow. And then if you can play it over at 60, then it's Marco. Sorry, I got your name wrong. I had my cursor over your name. And then you want to speed it up. Like if you can play it at 60, no problem, or if it's easy, then bump it up to 80. And then if you can do 80, then only bump it up maybe by 5 after a while, because then it'll start to get too fast if you bump it up by 20 every time. Hi, good classes, Maritza. All right, glad to have you with us again. You've definitely been here before. All right, everybody, let me show you a couple things coming up. I'll answer some more questions here in a minute. I don't know why I said it that weird. In a minute. Oh, this is what I'm going to say first. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go over this first. Okay, so over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, if you click on community and you scroll down, you're going to see what we're going to be talking about and when. So obviously, we have today's lesson on the 6th. So Friday and Sundays, we meet 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday, it's going to be a short lesson. It's going to be really like it's just like a little tip. It's almost like the Tuesday tip videos I used to do, where it was just like one tip that was real short. That one's going to be on the shorter side for sure, which is good because we've been putting out a lot of longer lessons. And then Sunday, the all major scales with fingering, I'm going to do that lesson. I'm going to try to put like a extra value on it, like a spin, because I've done a lesson on that before. Obviously, I can make a better one, but I want to make maybe it'll be like a major scale practice routine kind of thing. And then Friday, the following Friday, is what you need to know about minor scales. So I'm finally going to be talking about minor scales for once. I don't think I've talked about it on the channel at all. And then that Sunday is a good one because it's apps for learning piano, which I asked for your input on the channel. You guys gave me some good recommendations. And then we're going to be talking about 16th note patterns. Now that I look at that, I probably should have done that lesson before this one. But what are you going to do? And then we have syncopation. So a very rhythm-centric, month here. One thing I really want to tell you about here is if you like my YouTube channel and you love my videos, you're really going to love the courses I have over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com. And I'm really telling you this right now because there's a fall sale going on right now where all my course packs are on sale. I'll explain more about that in a second. But I really want to point out the main thing you're going to get from these courses as opposed to the YouTube channel. So on the YouTube channel, I make lessons, and then I'll make a lesson, right? And I might give you a little bit to practice, but there's not really any assignments or any reinforcing material. And then I just kind of make a different lesson next time. So, it's just kind of broken up based on topic. It's not really it doesn't really follow a consecutive order. But these courses do, just like a course you would take in a college course. So you're going to be basically being introduced to topics in an instructional video similar to these kind. And then you're also going to be given practice assignments, real sheet music to play, notes to follow along with, worksheets, all around that same topic. So you're really, really getting a solid foundation on each topic before you move on, which is so, so important when you're learning music. So they're better organized, and they also have a lot of supporting material as well. So those are the two big benefits that you're going to get from this. So these are great. If you're brand new to learning piano, I have some courses here for you. I'll explain in a second. Or if you've been following me for a while, or you have some experience already in learning piano and you want to advance your skills, then I have courses also for you. You're going to learn about not just piano, but you're going to learn about music theory improvisation, rhythm, ear training, and more. So I have courses on all these topics, basically to help you become a well-rounded musician. You can contact me with any questions you might have. I'll be happy to answer them for you. We got, so learn at your own pace. The courses never expire with their access, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, I only have a month left to access, but I'm really busy this month. None of that. You don't have to worry about that. I used to do that, but I've learned my lesson that people don't like that. So, yeah, you can read about the rest. You can take it on your favorite device and learn about the song practice gallery. That's just kind of an extra thing. So you can purchase courses individually if you want by clicking on the buy courses at the top of the page. However, I recommend you get a course pack. First of all, it's a much better deal. So courses individually are usually $29.99 a piece. But as you can see, that these, you get a cluster of courses together, like the beginner's pack, you get 4 courses for $39.99, just $10 more on sale, and you get access to these 4 courses. Now, if you want to know like more about what these courses cover, just click on one of them. It'll take you to the course description page, sample lesson, basically what you're going to be able to do by the end of the course, what you need to know ahead of time, how long it's going to take you to complete the course in general, and the piano pieces you're going to be learning. And below that, you can see like you can purchase the course individually, $29.99, or part of the beginner's pack, or the all course access. So the intermediate and advanced packs work the same way, except there's more courses included. That's why they're a bit more expensive, but you get 9 courses included, 9 courses included there, and then you can get the all course access, existing and new courses. I am developing a couple of new courses that I need to get moving on a little bit faster, but I do like to take my time on those, but I am working on them to get those out. But you will get access to all the courses I already have available, which is quite a lot. I think it's at 22 or 23. Okay, taking a look here, again, you can just click on any course you want to learn more about, and then in the description it will show you what you will be learning. I also want to mention there's a satisfaction guarantee, so you're going to get a full refund if you request one within 30 days of purchase. Simple as one email. So if you just decide it's not for you, or somehow within that 30 days you know something comes up and you're too busy to do it, then no matter really what the reason is, I'll give you the refund if you want in that 30 days. Okay, the last thing I want to tell you about is if you use the code YouTube, pretty easy to remember. This is a little special thank you for coming today. Use code YouTube during checkout. You're going to get an additional 15% off on top of the discount you're going to get from the sale. So you're going to get kind of a double discount. So like I said, a little thank you for coming by today. And again, if you like the stuff you see over here on the channel, you're going to love the courses, and it's also a great way to invest back into the channel as well. Since really your support, the support of everybody signing up through the website and watching the videos on YouTube as well, is really what kept us going throughout all these years, and why the channel is still going super, super strong. All right. Let's see. Karen says, thoroughly recommend Tim's courses. Thank you very much. To anyone considering registering for them, good chance I'll expire before my all-course package. So like I said, there's a ton of courses there to keep everybody busy for sure. No expiration on lessons is definitely a benefit. Exactly. Yeah, because like I said, I had that before where it expired, and people let me know through email that that it wasn't nearly as appealing, I guess. Do triplets also have common rhythm patterns? Yes, I decided not to cover them today because I have kind of looked at the analytics of the last few videos we put out, which, by the way, have been killing it for the most part. So big thanks also to my editor, which has helped make that happen. Not only is the editing better, but I can spend more time developing the lessons. But I've really come to the conclusion that any lesson over like 15 minutes just doesn't perform as well. It just doesn't. Like, people, I think, look at that like a 20-minute, 25, maybe even 30-minute video, and they're like, oh, it's a little too long for me. So they might look for something shorter. So I'm going to try to keep them within like maybe the 10 to 15-minute range. Today's is probably going to be another 20-minute one, but maybe we'll be able to knock it down to 15. I don't know. The most important thing about a lesson and the length it needs to be is it's as long as it needs to be to get a lot of the information in. But I did decide, like, it's probably a better idea if I have a big topic like this one. I could make a whole nother lesson on the same thing. So what I'll do is sometime in the future, I'll make a part 2 to this lesson. So which will break it down into smaller and more manageable pieces. Oh, sorry to hear that, Karen. Your husband had a stroke a few months ago. Really sorry to hear that. I hope he's doing well. Hope you're doing well also, and your family all together. But glad to have you back with us, even trying to pick up again now. That's great. Glad to have you back with us. Really considering it, says Sarah. Yeah, anytime, Sarah. If you need more time to think about it, because the sale does end on the 10th, I believe, October 10th. There will be another chance that you'll have to wait a while, though, until like the Black Friday, like Thanksgiving holiday time. And then I have another one like towards the end of the year. But if you want to pick one up now, you can if you want. But if you want to think on it a little bit more, I won't rush you. Marcel says, about apps I like Piano Marvel. Very cool. I'll check that one out. I'm not going to include a lot of apps that... how do I put this? I'm looking more for apps on this lesson. I should have clarified more that help help you learn a certain skill on piano instead of learning piano as a whole. But I will look at those for sure. And I might change my mind. I might just include those if it works. He's doing fine now, Tim. Thank you. You're welcome. Good to hear. Really glad to hear that. All right. Any other questions today? It looks like not really. I think I covered everything I needed to cover today, so maybe we'll end a little bit early. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm doing pretty well. I'm feeling really good these days. Like I said, I've been really taking good care of myself. I've been taking more time for myself, which makes such a big difference. And like I said, I hired an editor, which also helps me do that big time. Because to edit all these videos, I like editing videos. I don't like editing them every single week. It just gets to be too much, especially when I got to design the thumb. I really like designing thumbnails. That's like one of my favorite things. And so maybe I'll hire somebody for that someday, but I really like doing it. And I'm actually getting better and better at it all the time. Still not perfect. Actually, the lesson I put out today, I had to redo the thumbnail because it wasn't really performing. But all right, let's read what Karen has to say. Best recommendation I can give: am able to teach. Okay, my daughter through all I've learned. That's great. Awesome. My daughter does have a piano teacher. Great. But it hasn't been for a while. Yeah, I could understand that. Singing in order with books. All right, let me take a drink. So Sarah is learning better from watching videos. You know, we're all different learners. We all process things different ways. But that's great. I have a question above. Oh, thank you, Julio. So if I ever forget your question, not forget your question, but if I look past it inadvertently, please remind me. Do you count triplets differently on the type of notes and time signature? No. How do you count quarter note triplets in common time? I get a little confused sometimes. All right, I can explain this because it's not going to take too long. All right. Now the real tricky thing that I'm gonna have to make a lesson on this on its own and actually kind of come up with a really good like strategy, because I really don't have one, to be honest. I mean, I do for counting eighth or triplets, but I don't have one from going from triplets to eighth notes. But let me see. I can just kind of do it because I've been playing so long. But okay, so we're in common time. That's 4/4. And let's just fill out the rest of the measure with quarter notes. So, obviously you got beat 1 here. Remember, these are all beamed across, signifying that equals 1 beat. So beat 2 is going to be right there, 3, and then 4. Pretty easy, right? So this is how I count triplets. I use the number 1. And then all I do is, since triplet is 2 syllables, I say 1 triplet. You got to count them evenly though. 1 triplet. And then if you still want to keep dividing into 3, you can do that. So you can keep doing 2 triplet. If you want to make sure that you are still dividing those into 3, 4 triplet, like that. So you're going to be playing this on the piano like this. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, bum 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 bum. Since the whole thing with a triplet is to fit really 3 notes into the place of 1 beat, rather than, you know, like eighth notes is 2 into the place of 1 beat, and 16 notes is 4 into the place of 1 beat. So 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, just like that. Now the one thing and this is what I was talking about a second ago, I'm gonna have to come up with a good strategy to explain this, because like I said, I just kind of get it. And there's some things my piano teacher in college would do. Like, I'd be like, how do you do that? And he's like, I don't know, I've just been playing it so long. You just got to keep doing it. You know, I think this is one of the things. I really do. I think this is why I probably maybe don't know. So I got to come up with something here. He didn't do that a lot. It was really just like with stuff like this. Okay, so obviously you have your 1 triplet. But then the thing is, like, you have to then go to 2 and 3 and 4 and, which can be kind of jarring because you're going from 3 into 2. So you have 1 triplet, 2 and 3 and, oops, sorry, 1 triplet, 2 and 3 and 4 and. What I like to do, which let me get a metronome out here. A metronome will actually help you with this. This is how I do it. How I've gotten used to it. So why isn't it playing? What happened? Okay, that works. But the metronome doesn't work. Well, the heck? Just trying to see if it's... Oh, so it is the Google one. I don't know, the Google one is all messed up. So, I don't know, let's do it 100. So here's our obnoxious metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Just like that. You know, I'm going to slow it down because to explain it at the same time, it's hard. Let's try 80. I'm just going to divide them all into triplets. 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So you want each number obviously to hit on each of those obnoxious clicks. So maybe just try eighth notes now. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a measure of eighth notes, and then I'm going to try to go immediately into the triplets. Here we go. Ready, go. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So as you can see, through a couple of times of doing that, I started to adjust, going from dividing into 3 parts into 2 parts. So that's probably going to be the lesson I make, actually, is like doing that. And then I'm probably going to try to either look up maybe another strategy or think up of something. All right, Laredo is, I certainly find the lessons and the courses very enlightening and informative. Thank you. I'm really enjoying them and learning quite a lot from them. Glad to hear it. Thank you, Tim and fellow students, for a worthwhile journey. Well, thank you so much, Laredo. Really appreciate that. Alfred is good as well. Yep. Yeah, I recommend everybody pick up that Alfred book. Question. Okay, I got that. All right, everybody. I think I'm going to end it here. Hopefully, you got that explanation of the triplets and then the eighth notes. Hopefully, you found that enlightening. Remember to go to pianolessonsontheweb.com if you want to check out the courses. Sale ends in just 4 days on October 10th. Yeah, that's how math works. And I'm going to see you guys next Friday for whatever lesson that was. Let me look it up. Oh yeah, it's like this little technique on getting better at reading music that I haven't really talked about. It's kind of common sense, but I haven't really talked about it on the channel. Let me take a drink. My throat is getting dry. All right. If you need a link to my website, although it's pretty easy to remember, here it is. I really liked your explanation of the triplets. All right, great, Greg. Glad that you liked it. I think I'm going to make another lesson then on that. Yeah, let me do this. Wait, give me a second. Yeah, let me just bring it here. Okay, let me bring something up real quick. All right, I got it written down. I just wanted to make sure I got that written down. All right, there we go. All right, everybody, make sure you leave a big fat like for me. It lets other students know that they can learn from this lesson as well. All right, Julio loved it. Great. Okay. Do I recommend a mechanical metronome or a digital one? Digital. From what I understand, that the mechanical ones, from what I've heard, I haven't used a lot of them, even though I have one right there, that they can get off after a while. And if you think about it, they're mechanical, so maybe as the things, you use it more and more, things stretch out, and maybe the timing gets off. But you know that a digital one is never going to, do that. However, a digital one, you might have to replace the batteries in it if it's an external one. You can get one on your computer. You can even get an app on your phone, like almost everybody these days, most people. And if you don't have one, don't feel bad, because I didn't have one until about a year ago, a smartphone. And then you can just look up an app on that, and that works just fine. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming by today. It's been your piano teacher, Tim. I'm going to see you next Friday for our lesson on that little trick on how to read music faster. Hopefully you can make it. And yeah, and awesome to see Karen again, Laredo, Julio, a lot of great students. Greg back here again. We got Sarah here, of course, who's newer. And then we got Hadrick. Welcome. Thank you so much, Hadrick. And then everybody else. So thanks, everybody, for coming by. Remember to check out Piano Lessons on the web if you want some courses. Code YouTube at checkout for 15% off. And yeah, I'm going to see you later. So it's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Have a great day. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to see you, yes, you, in that next lesson. All right, everybody. Have a great day. All right. See ya.